Let's talk about Fuji F-Log. In a past video, I talked about how Fujifilm's film simulations would be good enough for the everyday vlogger. You just select a film simulation that you think looks good and you're essentially good to go. Now this works for around 90% of people, but if you want to have more control over the colors of your footage, I recommend shooting in log. So in this video, I want to talk about how to get started with log, Fujifilm F-Log, captured on the Fujifilm X-S10. Now what is log? Log is essentially when you capture your footage, when you squish the colors and exposures of your footage, giving you a very flat look. A benefit of this is it gives you a bit more flexibility with your colors, editing your colors in post-production, and a bit more wiggle room with the exposure of your capture. This means it might be easier to salvage very dark portions of your footage or blown out highlights of your footage. You could say it's a way to extract more dynamic range from your footage, but of course, this is no excuse to have bad exposure. Let's talk about an easy way to grade your F-Log footage on DaVinci Resolve. You can start by just adding your log clips to your timeline, and then you can go to the Colors tab. For this example, I'm using Fujifilm's official Eterna LUT. LUTs are kinda like these color profiles companies and people can make for you to use for your footage. I'll have a link for that in the description below. We can simply add the LUT to our corrector node, and we have converted our log footage into Eterna footage. By the way, shooting in Fujifilm F-Log isn't available in all Fujifilm X series cameras, but if you are serious in shooting and videography on the Fujifilm system, I highly recommend getting a body with these built in, such as the X-T2, 3, and 4, the X-T30, the X-H1, or again what I'm using, the X-S10. Now let's check out some log footage and compare it to Fujifilm's film simulations. Here we can see the very flat profile of log, and here we see Astia, the more vivid profile. But why shoot log in the first place when we can get nice looks straight out of camera? The answer is flexibility. For example, if we shoot in Velvia, we get a very saturated look. A great look for sure, but what if we decide later that we want to have a more tame look for our footage? Like, for example, what you can get from using Eterna. We can actually see in our color scopes that there's a huge difference in the color spread of Velvia and Eterna. Eterna tends to retain more information in the highlights and shadows, and since Velvia is so saturated, there tends to be information lost when we try and pull those colors back. Depending on your captures, this may also result in muddy or noisy footage. Velvia is a good look for photos, but I think it's less effective for videos since your colors are so pushed, and from experience, it takes a bit more effort to tone those colors back in post-production. Now if we shoot entirely in log, we have the flexibility of choosing our color profiles in post-production rather than having the pressure of deciding on the spot or in the field. This would also mean an easier time for your editor, for your colorist, if you're sending them your footage for color grading. Now I decided to shoot the intro to this video by this wall, and I thought that the Velvia film simulation would be a good fit to bring out those colors on the wall, but since I didn't want to limit my options, I decided to just shoot in log anyway. This turned out to be a good decision since I feel like the saturated Velvia colors would have been too distracting and might have taken away from the scenes I wanted to capture. Remember that color is a very big part of visual storytelling and can have a huge impact in the tone of your videos. But of course, if you're not super into video, any Fujifilm simulation should be good for you and should be usable depending on what you think looks good. But if I had to choose, I'd choose either Eterna or Classic Chrome. Hey, if you have any requests or if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. I hope you found this video helpful. You have reached the end of this video. I'll leave you with a bit more samples of film simulations. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.